Hey everybody, it's Craig with Smartphone and we got a great face-off for us today. We've got Verizon Samsung Galaxy Nexus up against the Samsung Galaxy S2, and it's the Euro version. So we got a great little face-off for us today. Before we get started, I want to thank the folks at Best Buy Mobile for setting me up with the Galaxy Nexus. If you're in need of a smartphone, make sure you stop by Best Buy Mobile. All right, let's kick this off. The Galaxy Nexus weighs in at 150 grams. It's the heavier of the two. Sports a 4.65-inch Super AMOLED capacitive display with a resolution of 720 by 1280. It does not offer Gorilla Glass. Upper right-hand corner, you've got a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. As far as keys, there are no physical keys or capacitive keys on the phone itself. There are 3 keys for part of the software: back key, home key, and multitasking key. On the back is a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus LED flash, video capture 1080p at 30 frames per second. It's got an 1850 milliamp hour battery rated at 6 hours and 30 minutes of talk time. Up on top, there is nothing. On the right hand side, you've got the power and lock key. On the bottom is the 3.5mm headphone jack along with a microphone, micro USB port. On the left hand side is the volume rocker, and on the bottom is the phone speaker, back, excuse me. All right, let's look at the Galaxy S2. Weighs in at a very svelte 116 grams. Sports a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED Plus capacitive display, resolution of 480 by 800. Does offer Gorilla Glass. Upper left-hand corner, you've got a 2 megapixel front-facing camera for video calls. Below the display, you have 2 touch-sensitive keys, main menu key, back key, and 1 physical home key. On the back is an 8 megapixel camera with autofocus LED flash. Video capture, again, 1080p at 30 frames per second. Battery's a little smaller, 1650 milliamp hour battery, but better rating at 8 hours and 40 minutes of talk time. Up on top, microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack. And I don't know what that is. Get that off. On the right hand side, power and lock key. On the bottom is another microphone, micro USB port. Left hand side is the volume rocker, and on the lower left corner on the back is the phone speaker. All right, let's talk processors here. Both offer 1.2 gigahertz dual core processors. On the Galaxy Nexus, it's from Texas Instruments, and on the Galaxy S2, it's from Samsung's Exynos dual core processor. As far as internal storage, Galaxy Nexus, 32 gigabytes of internal storage. There is no support for micro SD cards. Galaxy S2 comes in 2 versions, either 16 or 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and that can be expanded an additional 32 gigabytes through the use of a micro SD card. Both phones offer 1 gigabyte of RAM. As far as Wi-Fi, both offer 802.11 ABGNN, support for DLNA as well as HDMI out. Both offer Bluetooth version 3.0 with support for A2DP. Galaxy S2 also has support for high-speed data transfer. Both have GPS with support for AGPS. Both can be used as Wi-Fi hotspots. As far as operating systems, the Galaxy Nexus obviously comes with Android Ice Cream Sandwich. Galaxy S2 comes with Android Gingerbread. As far as user interface, you've got stock ICS on the Galaxy Nexus. On the Galaxy S2, it's Samsung's TouchWiz 4.0. All right, next up, let's run a few tests on these bad boys, and we'll start out with the Quadrant Center benchmark test on both. And we're off to the races. Good clean start. Again, they're both running 1.2 gigahertz dual core processors, and they both have 1 gigabyte of RAM. See the frames per second and frame rates lower left hand corner of the displays on both. Galaxy S2 is on its final 3D graphic. All right, Galaxy S2 benchmark score comes back at 3089. On the Galaxy Nexus, boy, that type is small, 1676. So our winner of the Quadrant Center benchmark test is the Galaxy S2. Next up, LinPack Pro will run single thread. And our winner is the Galaxy S2 megaflops 56.113 and 1.49 seconds versus 45.2 2.242, easy for me to say in a time of 1.85 seconds for the Galaxy Nexus. Next up, let's try our unofficial speed test, and we'll run some Google apps, starting out with maps on both. And that looked to be the Galaxy S2. Alright, what do you say we go to, let's try Gmail on both. That definitely seemed to be the Galaxy S2 as well. Let's try the calendar on both. That definitely seemed to be the Galaxy S2. Let's try messaging on both. That seemed to be the Galaxy Nexus. Let's try the phone application on both. That was the Galaxy S2. What else do we have in here? Google. Let's open up the music app on both. Find it. There we go, and we're off. That seemed to be the, I think it was a Galaxy S2. If I'm wrong again, I'm sure you won't hesitate correcting me. Let's try a YouTube app. Again, they're both running off the same Wi-Fi network. That was definitely the Galaxy Nexus. And what else do we have here? Let's try one other thing. Let's try the market on both. Alright, I know the market's close by here. There it is. And that was the Galaxy Nexus again. So there's our unofficial speed test. All right, next up is our YouTube comparison. We'll kick this off with Lady Gaga. Again, they're both running off the same Wi-Fi network. They're both set to default to HQ. Galaxy S2 looks like it's ready to roll.
When I look back on my life, it's not that I don't want to see things exactly as they happened. It's just that I prefer to remember them in an artistic way. And truthfully, the lie of it all is much more honest because I invented it. Clinical psychology tells us arguably that trauma is the ultimate killer. Memories are not recycled like atoms and particles in quantum physics.
All right, let's try one more Lady Gaga. Let's try Judas, and we're off. All right, there's a look at our YouTube comparison between these two. Obviously the Galaxy S2 spooled up both videos quicker. As far as display quality, I'll let you be the judge of that. You really can't see it. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but the display on the Galaxy Nexus is absolutely amazing. Not that the Galaxy S2 looks bad at all, but the Galaxy Nexus, the 720 by 1280, looks really, really nice. All righty, there's a little personal opinion. Sorry I threw that in. Next up, let's try a little navigating on our two combatants here. Navigate to Starbucks. And it looks as if they both have the route, and the Galaxy S2 now has, have it on mute? Yeah, I have to unmute it, that would help. Galaxy S2 has the route and is providing voice-guided turn-by-turn navigation. We're simply waiting for GPS to grab on the Galaxy Nexus. Take a look at, let's do this, let's put this satellite on both, and there we go. The Galaxy Nexus has just grabbed a satellite. I don't know why we're not hearing the voice-guided turn-by-turn on either one of them. They both should be giving it to us. I'm sure it'll pop in as soon as I don't want it to. Anyway, take a look at both of the maps on both Galaxy S2 first off. Pinch to zoom. Also double tap to zoom in. This Galaxy S2 seems to be drawn quite well. Galaxy Nexus. It's a little slower on the redraw, but the display looks absolutely amazing. Double tap to zoom in. Let's pinch to zoom. We'll move out a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. Doesn't redraw quite as fast, in my opinion, but both of them handle the navigation with no problem at all. Had I had the mute off on the Galaxy S2, we would have heard it right away. I'm not quite sure why we didn't get it. I've definitely heard it on the Galaxy Nexus, so I know both of them work quite well. All right, last but not least, let's wrap up our face-off today between the Samsung Galaxy Nexus and the Galaxy S2 with our browser comparison. Got them both running off the same Wi-Fi network. Got the caching history cleared on both, and I have Flash fully enabled on both, and we'll kick this off with Engadget, and we're off. Galaxy S2, you can see there's not a lot of Wi-Fi signal. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with it today. Looks like the Nexus, Galaxy Nexus is going to, well, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Again, I've got Flash fully enabled on both. Looks like it's going to be the Galaxy Nexus, but the S2 just keeps coming at him. And the winner is going to be, getting all the Flash as loaded. S2 is caught up. They're neck and neck. Who's going to push it over the line? Galaxy Nexus was first. Still waiting, and there's the GS2. GS2 is a little smoother, but the Galaxy Nexus is quite smooth as well. Let's double tap to zoom in. Give you a look at the text. There you go. There's a difference between your 720 by 1280 and 480 by 800. You see the text is quite a bit smaller, and again, you can adjust the size of the text on the Galaxy Nexus in settings. Pinch to zoom. Both very sensitive. Two great, just awesome browsers. One thing that is nice, though, you do get to rewrap after you've zoomed in with the Galaxy Nexus. The Euro version of the Galaxy S2 does not do that. Not quite sure why, but it doesn't. I know it does on a couple of the American versions. There's no way to rewrap. Anyway, so there's a look. Let's get back to home screen, but both of them handle it without any problems at all. One thing that's pretty slick on the Galaxy S2, Galaxy Nexus will probably do it as well, even though I'm not, well, I'm still downloading the page, I can still cruise around without any issues. Alright, let's go into bookmarks on both. There's an extra step which I'm really not crazy about on the Galaxy Nexus to get to bookmarks, and let's hit smartphone envy, and we're off. Again, the Galaxy Nexus looks like it's jumping out in front. Here comes the Galaxy S2. Now it looks like it's going to be the Galaxy S2 is going to take it. And Galaxy S2 is mowing it down. Not quite sure. Here comes the Nexus. Galaxy Nexus. I'll get used to saying that. And it's coming on strong. Galaxy S2 took that one. And again, as you can see, very smooth. No problems whatsoever. Double tap to zoom in. Pinch to zoom. Double tap to zoom out all the way. No problem, still waiting on the Galaxy Nexus. This time, I guess we're going to have to run one more. As you can see, it's quite smooth. Still hasn't finished downloading the entire page, and yet you can still scroll basically the entire page with one quick swipe. One thing you'll notice in the Galaxy Nexus, it does push all the text over to the left-hand side. However, when you double tap to zoom in, again, what you can do, it's got enough power, you can do that while it's still loading. There we go. Fully loaded. How are we doing rendering on both? Missing a little rendering on the Galaxy Nexus. We're missing a line here underneath the widget. other than that, it looked pretty good. Again, we can double tap to zoom in, pinch to zoom, double tap again to rewrap the text, which is very nice. You can see just how quick Galaxy Nexus is. And again, the Galaxy S2 isn't much of a slouch either. All right, well, so we had a tie. So we got to find on our website to go to. What can we use? What about, do I have MSN on here? I don't have an ESPN Home on both. And again, it's mobile, but we'll see who takes it. This is for all the dollars. And it was the Galaxy Nexus, I believe, that took that. So our winner is going to be of the browser comparison, the Galaxy Nexus, although the Galaxy S2 feels a little smoother when scrolling, but not by a heck of a lot. Again, both the browsers are phenomenal. The display on the Galaxy Nexus is pretty amazing, but obviously two very high-end handsets. You can't go wrong with either one. Anyway, this is Craig from Smartphone Envy. I hope our face-off today has been helpful, and happy holidays. Take care.